Get ready for the dictation. 5 seconds to go. Start. Mr. Deputy Chairman, sir, I would like to take the issue of textiles. Textile industry as a whole, as was mentioned by an esteemed member, is catering to a large component of employment. In that, handlooms, cotton looms, khadi looms, pure silk looms, and jute looms are going to face a very serious distress with implications of the goods and services tax. Out of 75 lakh business units, those who are going to come under goods and service tax purview, a large number of units are those which are catering through handicrafts and handlooms. I plead the Union Finance Minister to look at that, and I also appeal to him to look at the apprehensions of the state governments as it was expressed by several state finance ministers, including the state of Telangana. Mr. Deputy Chairman, sir, we have had a detailed and elaborate discussion on these four legislations which are essential to give effect to the goods and services tax. Earlier, we had the opportunity to discuss threadbare this issue when the Constitution Amendment Bill itself was discussed in both the houses of Parliament. At the very outset, I would like to thank all the honorable members who have spoken on this because the broad approach almost of every member has been in support of this bill. Even the Constitution Amendment Bill was passed unanimously by both the houses of Parliament. Therefore, I am extremely grateful to all political parties in both the houses of Parliament as also in the state governments which extended support to it. Not only has it been passed in these houses, we have a goods and services tax council where 29 state governments and 2 union territories with legislatures are represented, besides the central government. The Tamil Nadu government had some reservations about it, but after it was passed, it is a law applicable to all the states. Therefore, even the representatives from Tamil Nadu, along with the other states, have been actively cooperating in it in order to see that the GST itself becomes a reality. A lot of comments have been exchanged about what happened, why it was delayed, and consequences of the delay itself. Originally, the idea was mooted out in the budget of 2006. The Constitution Amendment Bill itself was introduced in 2011. It is a fact that when an idea as radical as this is moved, it will take time before people digest the full implication of that idea. Under our constitutional scheme, both center and states were empowered to levy different kinds of taxes. The center was levying the manufacturing tax, which is the excise duties. We were levying the service tax. The tax on sale or value added tax was being levied by the state governments. There are several other taxes from entertainment tax to luxury tax, purchase tax, entry tax, octroi, which are being levied by the state governments. Therefore, the initial impact was that many states felt that they are going to lose their jurisdiction under the constitutional structure under which they levy their taxes and the center levies its taxes. Therefore, there was obviously an initial reluctance. There were several states which were manufacturing states which felt that this being a destination tax, they are going to lose revenue. I must admit that from 2006 onwards, when this experiment was made, it has been a learning experience as to how to improve upon this idea. The Empowered Committee of State Finance Ministers was also constituted. Therefore, the provisions had to be brought in to compensate the states which anticipated or feared the loss of revenue, and they had to be brought in by a constitutional amendment. We appointed a select committee of this House which tried to work out a consensus. We were able to address some of those concerns over and above what the select committee had recommended. We were also able to persuade some of the state governments not to insist upon some of the things because a larger consensus was being brought about. Therefore, this bill I have no hesitation in conceding is not a bill for one person or one government or for which any individual should take credit. It is a collective property in which states, political parties, central governments, successive governments have all contributed. I have no difficulty in sharing the credit for this with everyone, particularly the state governments, because we are now creating a situation which was originally not anticipated in the Constitution, and I will explain why. In the original Constitution, you have clearly defined areas where on taxes either the center has the jurisdiction or the state has the jurisdiction. There is a central list, there is a state list. Then you have concurrent list where if the center chooses to act, then the center gets the primacy. The state will be excluded. So there is no gray area in the Constitution where both the center and states simultaneously exercise power. It is either the center or the states. Stop.